Good. Good. Well, obviously, you know, this is what this team has worked a long time for. We've talked a lot about establishing identity, and now's the time to create the identity of a dangerous team. And there could be, you know, you could say, are we going to sort of play with a reputation of Alabama teams of the past, or is this team going to create an identity of its own of being a dangerous team? And I don't think anybody really is ever afraid of you until you become a scary team in terms of how you execute what you do, the discipline you play with, the grit that you have, you know, which is sort of the perseverance and passion to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish. And can you stay focused on those things and do those things effectively and consistently over a long period of time, which is the entire season. So I've been pleased with the way our players have approached this. I thought we had good work on Friday and Saturday. You know, we have a little extra time, and this is obviously a very, very good team that we're playing. They've won 11 games last year, and they've got a significant number of starters, I think 5 or 6 on offense, 5 or 6 on defense. Have the quarterback back, have a very good runner, even though that wasn't their star. He gained almost 1,000 yards, you know, a year ago. A couple of offensive linemen, good tight ends. Very, very good defensive team, one of the top defensive teams in the country. They're very well coached, and you know, they do a really, really good job of executing and playing together on defense, and play with a tremendous amount of toughness, and really, really play with a lot of energy and effort. And you know, we're going to have to do a really good job against them. You know, Paul Chryst is I have a tremendous amount of respect for him as a coach. I thought he did a fabulous job at Pitt. He's a very good offensive coach, and did a great job at Wisconsin when he was there before. This team has obviously been a very, very strong running team, but I think, you know, Paul has always been a guy that has been able to create balance with what he does, and has a lot of pro background, and is a very good developer of quarterbacks. And I think that you know, that his touch will be something that we'll definitely, you know, see, you know, in terms of what he does with Wisconsin's offense. They've got their specialists back, so you know, this is a really good team, and it's going to be a challenge for our team, and to go out and play the kind of football that we're capable of playing for 60 minutes in the game to have a chance to be successful. We have 2 players, all right, that will come back to practice this week, but maybe not today, and maybe not get enough practice to be able to play in a game, and that's Parker Barano and Corwin Kervin. You know, we just have to wait and see. You know, each one of those guys are in a little bit different sort of position in terms of where they are in their rehab. But those are the 2 guys that I think would be questionable as to whether, you know, they'll be able, you know, to play, you know, in this game.
Start with your Mark.
Just coming out of this past weekend, any different movement with the quarterbacks, how they're looking, and what's the plan going forward?
Well, I've been really pleased with all 3 of the quarterbacks that have taken some reps in practice. You know, Jake has really done a good job of getting the ball out of his hand, and seems to be more comfortable with the offense. Cooper Bateman, more athletic, has really improved as a passer and done a really good job of executing. And, you know, Alec is very, very comfortable in running the offense in terms of knowledge and experience, and you know, that type of thing. So those 3 guys have gotten the bulk of the reps, and each day we'll have an order that they get so many reps based on what we would do if they get the opportunity to play in the game, and you know, that's how we're going to progress this week.
To this side, Matt.
Nick, I just want to see what the competition has been like at wide receiver. How intense has that been between, I guess, your top group of guys, and how many of those guys do you think could factor into things come week 1?
Well, I think Richard Mullaney has been a really good addition because of his consistency and great hands, and very seasoned veteran guy that's played a lot of football, and he's consistently made plays in practice and scrimmages. I think our Darius Stewart has played, very well. Robert Foster has made a tremendous amount of improvement. He's a very talented guy that just has to be a little more consistent. I think a big thing with this group is to understand the importance of precision relative to working with the quarterback, whoever it might be, that they have to trust and depend that you're going to do things a certain way so that they can deliver the ball on time. And I think those three guys have done a really good job. Chris Black, who, we expect a lot from this year, was injured quite a bit of camp, but now is coming back and showing some promise, and I'm sure will play. Cam Sims, who has now been back on the practice field and is getting reps and playing, see how he develops, probably make a call later in the week as to whether we can use him in this game or not. And then the two young players are guys that are really, really talented, Calvin Ridley and Charlotte. And both those guys need to continue to improve and get to the point where they don't play like freshmen. And so I'd say those guys are probably the guys that are the primary guys right now to play these positions. And, that's an area of our team that we have to develop through the course of this year.
Right here with Cecil.
Hey, Coach, I have two. First, I know not to read too much into this, but you do see Marlon Humphrey and Mika Fitzpatrick both on the first line guys in the secondary. First of all, how far has Marlon come since redshirting last year, and then having a true freshman back there? What's that?
Right. Well, Marlon has done a really, really good job this fall camp, and he is more confident in terms of what to do, how to do it. He's really worked hard to in practice every day to try to improve, himself, and he's been very, very competitive, and we've been very, very pleased with where he is. Mika Fitzpatrick has been a guy that, not to anyone's surprise, because we thought he was a really good player when we recruited him, has been able to learn, pick up on, do things very, very well. I would think that Minka's role would be more at playing star in this game and not necessarily corner. But I do think whether it's Maurice Smith, Tony Brown, Bradley Silv, those guys have all played corner and done a pretty good job.
And one other one. I'm sorry, I had a follow-up. When you're preparing for a game like this, and I know you've been in this situation before, do you go through all the Wisconsin tape, all the Pitt tape, and how could you explain the process to us?
Right. Well, for us offensively, it's a little easier because they have the same coordinator at Wisconsin, so we're assuming that he'll do a lot of the same things, as the defensive coordinator, and a lot of that was sort of that way in the spring game. When it comes to what they would do on offense, our defense in preparation, we kind of look at both, but Paul has always been sort of that background of Wisconsin type, run the ball, but also has pro background in terms of the things that they did at Pitt, where they were a little more balanced. So we're sort of doing both when it comes to that. But I do think that they'll probably reflect his philosophy, which is old Wisconsin, plus some of the things that they did a little different at Pitt.
Same side there.
You've been pretty good on defense your entire time here, but is this year's group the most equipped to face these up-tempo teams that you've had maybe since the game went so offensive?
Well, it remains to be seen. That's something that we definitely need to improve on in terms of our ability to execute on a consistent basis and not let those types of things affect us in terms of the discipline, focus, keying the right things, playing the right things, not making mental errors, being able to recognize and react the way you normally would. So we've tried to practice it more. This group has a little more experience, especially in the number of those types of teams we played a year ago. So I'm hopeful that we'll do better, but I think they really have to go out there and do it.
What kind of camp did Adam Griffith have? And, you know, a guy that's battled, you know, he had back problems last year. Is that an ongoing management thing, or is he just full go?
Well, Adam's been, I think anybody out there that has issues with their back know that it doesn't just go away. But fortunately for us, so far in this camp, we haven't had a lot of issues, you know, with that. So, and he has had, you know, a good camp. You know, we're confident in him, and we want him to be confident in himself. And I think when he executes it the way he's capable of, he's very effective, and that's what we're going to keep trying to help him develop, that consistency.
John Zener.
If I could just go back to the quarterbacks for a minute, have you split reps pretty evenly 3 ways? I mean, has that been difficult to kind of manage and process?
No, we haven't done it that way, and the way we've done it has not been difficult to manage. And you know, we're going to manage it internally like we manage it. And you know, I'm hopeful that one of these guys really do a great job. Look, I'm confident in all the guys. You know, I'm confident that they can play well in this game. And I just would like to see somebody win the team over, which may not happen until they play. When you have guys that haven't played before, I think that's always the case. But I like the attitude that we have on offense. I like the approach that our players have. And I think our players have confidence in each one of what these guys can do well.
Just wondering, what does Damian Harris show to you so far this August, and how ready is he for real competition?
Damian has done a really, really good job, and I think he has, you know, done a good enough job that we have confidence that he can go out there and have a role in this game and play for us. And, you know, he's shown a lot of toughness. He's a bright guy, so he's been able to learn his position. And, you know, we're sort of counting on him being a player behind, you know, Derek and Kenyon, and we have a lot of confidence that he can do well. He's a good receiver as well as a good runner, and he's shown that he has a lot of toughness and resiliency, and we're anxious to give him an opportunity.
Up front, Dwayne.
Coach, just real quick, just back to the quarterbacks. Blake Sims told us last year that you let him know the day before that he was going to be the starter. Are you willing to wait until the day before to let the guy know, or would you like to let him know earlier?
Well, I'd like to let him know 3 months ago. All right, so, you know, it's not about what I like. You know, it's about what we need to do for our team right now and making a decision for our team. And, you know, we're going to make the decision when we think it's right time to make the decision for this group of guys. All right, and like I said, I would have liked to made it 3 months ago.
John, right back here.
Nick, on the defensively, Deron Payne is listed on that first line with Darren Lake coming in as a freshman. What have you seen from him? I know he's lost some weight since high school, but what has he done enough to kind of be in that first line?
Well, he's a very good player. He's very explosive, quick, can play with power, and you know, we're very pleased with the progress that he's made. I think anytime when you're talking about a freshman at any position, really, how rapidly they can develop, you know, the knowledge and experience to have confidence in doing their job the way the other players expect them to do it is really important. But I think that our players respect the fact that this guy has shown a lot of ability and has an opportunity to help us as an inside player. So we've been giving him a lot of reps, and he may have a role in this game.
Hey, Coach, I know you said that we could see multiple quarterbacks this Saturday. Is there a point in your mind where you feel you have to get it down to one guy?
If both guys can play well and both guys do well, not necessarily. I don't necessarily remember saying we're going to play multiple quarterbacks, or we might play more. I don't know where that came from exactly, but maybe I did say it. But you know, there's been a lot of people who have success playing two quarterbacks, especially if they have a little different style, which a couple of our guys do have a different style.
Kevin?
Nick, everybody wants to know who's going to play quarterback, but what's the biggest question that you have about this team going into the first game?
Well, you know, I think the biggest question that I have might not get answered in this game, but it's going to get answered over the course of time, is, you know, the dynamics of Alabama football has changed a little bit over the last couple of years. And I've been anxious to get back to what we used to do. You know, tradition is always kind of under construction. Identity is not something that you inherit or assume or get from somebody else. So, you know, how is this team going to develop an identity of being kind of relentless, competitive, dangerous team that we've had in the past, that can sustain that and stay focused on that and not get distracted by anything else through the course of the season, regardless of what happens, which is how we used to build our teams. You know, play for 60 minutes, play one play at a time, be relentless in how you play. And, you know, some kind of way, I feel like we've gotten away from that. You know, we're playing with more effort, playing with more toughness, getting more turnovers. Sometimes are resulted from that. So some of the things that we have to improve on, you know, go right back to that core of, you know, this is the kind of team we want to be. And I think that may have more to do with the success of this team than maybe anything else. And I've been pleased with the progress that we made in that and the commitment that we have. But the challenge is always, can you sustain it? So that to me is the number one thing that you call it grit, perseverance, you can call it a lot of things, but it's an identity that we play with, and can we do that as a group to a standard that's going to help us be successful?
That's all we got. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.